Good morning and welcome to RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. You see the White House there on this Monday, November 24th. So today at the North Lawn of the White House, you see a few people moving around there. That's because we're about to take you live to the North Lawn of the White House at 12 o'clock Eastern. The First Lady, Melania Trump, welcomes the official 2025 White House Christmas tree right there on the North Lawn. We'll take you there live for that. We'll also have a live broadcast at 3:30 Eastern time today, so a RSBN doubleheader of sorts, in case the president's 4 p.m. executive order signing becomes available to the press. So if that's the case, we'll have that live at 4 o'clock as well. So this broadcast now, and then that one at 3:30 Eastern time. For those watching live, hello to you. And to those that will watch this on replay, thanks so much for watching here on Right Side. Before we get into some of the stories we're tracking out there after, the 24/7 news cycle, as you guys know, always in high gear, especially with President Trump in office since day one of, actually since the election, November 5th of 2024. And you can go even further back than that with the campaign rallies. But we're going to get to a number of stories that we're following here at the network. But in the meantime, since it's a holiday week, Thanksgiving only in a few days from now. A lot of people, of course, enjoying football over the weekend. My family and I did as well at Auburn. Mercer played at Auburn. But it was great to see, even during the game, their quarterback, Deuce Knight, man, he was running all over the field, getting touchdowns left and right. Great to see that. Great on the sports side of things. But every time I go to a sporting event, I'm always looking for what is the patriotic moment of the game, right? So, or what's just a cool moment that just sums up what I talked about last week when it comes to the 10 words of We the People, what defines We the People, in my opinion: God, family, country, freedom, truth, justice, and the American way. 10 words, right? So that lens, it's hard to sometimes on a weekend, especially when there's so much news going on. Of course, there's time for family, but you still in the back of your mind, you think about politics and what's going on in the world, because we really desire to have that freedom in this country forever. But we know that there are a lot of different elements out there that are on the wrong side of history trying to tear down the United States of America. It's simple as that. And there's so many different elements of it. So we have to do what's right. We have to save this nation. And anyway, so yesterday, actually Saturday, at that game, it was a daytime game, some beautiful weather in the South. If you've never seen an SEC game, definitely a good time. Let's go to a moment there when the entire crowd was led in singing God Bless America. Let's take a look. So good times there as Auburn won that game. I think it was 62-17. And of course, next week in Alabama, for those of you that are really into football, there's something called the Iron Bowl here in Auburn, Alabama. It's the Alabama Crimson Tide. They'll be here visiting the Auburn Tigers. Of course, that's a night game. It's going to be electric at that stadium. Anyway, that was a little bit of the weekend for you. But of course, always thinking about, in the back of my mind, especially on the weekend, you got to have, again, it's God, family first. It's not politics or all of that, but still it's very close with country and freedom. God, family, country, freedom. But anyway, because we want to have our freedom to worship our God. We want to have the freedom to enjoy time with our family and not be concerned about any kind of thing that other countries may be concerned about. Anyway, great to enjoy that moment there. Hopefully you had a great weekend as we are, tracking a lot of stories out there. There's a lot going on, as you guys know. And we're covering as many stories as we can here at the network as we await the First Lady of the 47th president, of course, Melania Trump. She'll be out there momentarily. We have a couple of live interviews before we get to that. But speaking of the First Lady, there's the latest video from the office of the First Lady. So let's take a look at that as we await Melania Trump.
Lejeune High School demonstrated today that it's ready to lead its mission, educate, engage, and empower each student to succeed in a dynamic world. they have fully embraced the Presidential Artificial Intelligence Challenge, showcasing creativity and technical vision for the future of AI. The Lejeune and the New River community impressed me today. Military families, the quiet strength of our nation. Your love, patience, and courage give our service members the confidence to serve with honor. As we give thanks this season, let us remember what unites us: our shared love of country, our faith in one another, and our pride in those who serve. Happy Thanksgiving.
And then just a few weeks ago at the White House, a great event there as well, Fostering the Future for American Families, all about foster families and foster kids and being able to bring that together in a way that will really foster that great future for American families. So let's take a look at that video as we continue to stand by now for the First Lady of the United States.
This executive order, Fostering the Future for American Children and Families, gives me tremendous pride. It is both empathetic and strategic. It aims to establish a comprehensive network connecting federal departments and agencies, private sector's businesses, higher learning institutions, and charitable organizations. A special thank you to my husband for his enduring commitment to fostering the future. The President has prioritized America's foster care children. This small spark today will ignite a profound and lasting nationwide movement. Our united resolve will foster a thriving future filled with compassion and innovation. Together, we will illuminate the pathway for today's foster children to become tomorrow's builders. And tomorrow's builders will foster the future of America's legacy. Thank you.
So as you see, they're just going over a few of the highlights from the office of the First Lady, of course, Melania Trump, who we'll see this morning actually into the afternoon as we're about 23 minutes out from that. She will be welcoming the White House Christmas tree right there to the north lawn of the White House. So we're covering that event today. And then if you're just joining us, we'll be live at 3:30 Eastern as well, especially just in case the 4 p.m. executive order signing by the Commander-in-Chief will become open press. So if it's available to the press, we'll have that live for you at 4 o'clock. Regardless, though, we will be live at 3:30 later today with some live interviews. We have a few live interviews coming up here on the network as well in just a little bit. Before we get to that, we have a number of sponsors we're going to be talking about today as well. Some great sponsors, a lot of great products to hopefully purchase before Christmas. Great Christmas gifts galore, and we have that here at the network. In the meantime, there's one right there, actually. So let's go with the BOGO sale right now with All Family Pharmacy. This is all stuff, of course, you know, during the family season here with the holidays, there's a lot of situations where sometimes people, of course, get sick. But the Black Friday BOGO sale, the buy one, get one free, is here at All Family Pharmacy. And Patriots, it's the moment to stay prepared from November 24th through December 2nd. So, of course, today through December 2nd, when you buy one ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, or mebendazole, you get another one for free. So RSBN viewers, of course, know the importance of readiness. We don't wait for someone else to step in. We take responsibility for our health, our families, and our future. And it's simple. All you got to do is go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can place your order, and a licensed physician reviews it. Once approved, your medication ships. So allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. As we are now 11:39 Monday, November 24th. Monetary Gold, the next sponsor here, as we await the First Lady there at the White House. Every major financial disaster begins with a few simple facts that a number of people ignore, unfortunately. So in 2007, as many of you remember, it was overextended credit, reckless lending, and misplaced faith that everything, quote unquote, will hold, and then it didn't. Banks failed, savings vanished, retirements were cut in half. The lesson was painful and unforgettable. And today, some of those same indicators are returning. Auto loan defaults are rising. Commercial real estate is strained. Private credit has grown far beyond its limits. And they're not theories, they're patterns. And patterns repeat when people refuse to act. So for more than 25 years, Monetary Gold has guided Americans through every economic storm with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. And one constant truth: real value endures when paper confidence fades. So you can study the evidence, act on reason. Call 888-617-7994. You see that number there on your screen. Also, you can go to rsbnforthegold.com today to learn how owning tangible gold and silver can anchor your savings before the next shock arrives. So a great sponsor there with that info kit as well. Great to speak to some of the people over at Monetary Gold just the other day. And actually, we have a couple of those interviews today, a little bit later, with Monetary Gold and All Family Pharmacy. So two great sponsors here at Right Side, as it's now 20 minutes to noon on the East Coast, 20 minutes to 9 out there on the West Coast. Thanks so much for watching from coast to coast. Central Time Zone as well, of course, Mountain Time Zone. We're in this together, America. Looking forward to seeing as many wins as possible and our country being saved and everyone doing the right thing to get it done. So 19 minutes now to the top of the hour. Let's do this. Let's go to a update from the Homeland Security, the Department of Homeland Security. They have a video update that they posted, I believe, within that 24/7 news cycle. So let's take a look.
This is Micah Bach, Deputy Assistant Secretary at the Department of Homeland Security. This week, DHS struck a blow to sanctuary city policies that have crippled our nation. In North Carolina, open borders have turned Charlotte into a sanctuary sewer, deliberately shielding almost 1,400 criminal illegal aliens from ICE and CBP. These invaders were arrested for assault with deadly weapons, beating cops, drunk driving, gang activity, and far worse. For years, those pro-crime leaders have spat in the face of federal law enforcement and released these animals straight back into your streets, into your neighborhoods, to prey on your families. Within days of ICE beginning targeted deportation operations, fully 20% of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District stopped showing up for class. 1 in 5 seats suddenly became empty. It should concern every American that in a major city, hundreds of miles from the southern border, a large share of those seats that should belong to American children are occupied by children of illegal immigrants who are now hiding from justice. Every major pressure point that Americans feel today, housing costs, school quality, wages, public safety, healthcare access, traffic, taxes, can be traced back in some form to the same root cause: mass, uncontrolled immigration, and the refusal to enforce our laws. That ends now. Under the leadership of President Trump and Secretary Noem, the Department of Homeland Security launched Operation Charlotte's Web to dismantle, destroy, and deport all criminal illegal aliens they find. In just the opening days, we've already rounded up more than 250 of these illegal thugs in the Charlotte area. Every single one was protected by sanctuary city politicians who put foreigners above American citizens. This week, Secretary Noem joined President Trump in the Oval Office to discuss security for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. While we want Americans and soccer fans from across the world to enjoy this premier event, we also want every fan visiting the United States on a tourist visa to be aware of our visa laws before the event, so they can travel home safely and in a timely manner. And later, Secretary Noem signed a letter of intent on the ICE Pact, the historic icebreaker collaboration effort with Canada and Finland. This effort is our first step towards reclaiming total dominance of the Arctic and thwarting foreign threats. New icebreakers, thousands of high-paying American jobs, and the strongest Arctic presence on planet Earth. Under President Trump, America is no longer retreating. We'll see you next week.
And good morning once again for those of you just joining us. My name is Matthew Alvarez. This is RSBN Live at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. The First Lady welcomes the official 2025 White House Christmas tree to the North Lawn. We'll be live for that in just a little bit. And then also a little bit later, we'll have another live broadcast at 3:30 today, especially in case the president's 4 p.m. executive order signing becomes available to the press, we'll have that for you. We'll carry that live as it happens. In the meantime, as we await the First Lady of the United States, let's go now to a guest from the Media Research Center, Jairus Jackson. He's the External Affairs Manager there. Jairus, thanks again for joining us.
Appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Definitely. First of all, let's start with something light and easy. How was the weekend? And within that framework, is it something where we see what the country's going through and the ups and downs of certain situations out there? Are you able to enjoy your weekends? For me, it's sometimes not the easiest thing because I'm thinking about news and politics, which isn't always the right thing to do. But how do you kind of cycle through it as you're focused on doing great things there at the MRC?
So a few things. For one, I'm not one of the people that we keep trapped in the building watching The View and CNN all day. Although those people, they love their lives. I tell people that I work here and they're like, you horrible people, you torture them. They have a great time. They want to do this. They're some of the happiest people in the building. They love what they're doing and they're here on their own free will. I just want to be clear that everyone here knows. But for me, personally, I do a lot of decompressing. At the end of the day, whether that's reading my scripture, spending time with the Lord, and I reserve obviously Sunday for that as well. Family, friends, that type of thing. So I think a big thing is also putting this down, the phones. Put those down on the weekends, find someone you love, hang out with them, pick up your Bible, do something that's not picking up this. Politics will still be politicking on Monday is what I always tell myself.
Yeah, no, I hear you loud and clear. It's still, for me, not the easiest thing to keep the phone down, not look at truth, not look at X, not see what this is, who's saying what. It's just, there's so many stories going on a constant basis, but you're right, you have to unplug. And now that we're diving a little deeper into this conversation we just started, when I talk about God, family, country, and freedom, it's that order. It's God, family, then country, freedom, in my opinion. Now, it's very close. Country is family as well. Like to those that follow on Truth Social or whoever, right? I believe they're my countrymen, fellow countrymen. I love them with this, not the same love as my family, but it's very, very close because we're all in this thing together. And we also want freedom, right? But we have to remember that. We can't forget, to your point, God and family, even through all the craziness of what's going on in the world.
Absolutely. And I would invite all of your listeners to Thanksgiving, put the phone away. Once everyone whose family is there, once everyone's there and it's time to eat, see how long you could go without the phone. Just try it out. Try it out. Thanksgiving Day, how long can you go without picking up the phone, checking Truth, checking Twitter, whatever it is?
Dude, I'm telling you, 7 a.m.
Whatever
Central
your drug
time.
of choice is, I'm going to act like I'm talking just to the viewers. I may or may not be talking to the fabulous host as well. But let's see how long we could go on Thanksgiving Day. Focus on just our family, being thankful for that. I've noticed that I can actually surprise myself. You think you can't go that long, but if you're around people you love, it gets easier with time. So give it a shot.
Definitely. It's one of those things that let's be really open and honest. When you wake up, sometimes you do this, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, hopefully people have a great time on Thanksgiving, and just, obviously the being grateful and thankful is part of the whole thing, right? That's a lot of times I think people aren't happy because they're not just grateful for what they have right now. And I'm not talking about just money. You think about it. We do live in a free country currently, right? For those that have faith in God and Jesus, being saved is awesome. Having family or friends, being born in this country, those are just right there at the core minimum to be thankful for, on top of then if you have a house and cars and all the other things, So maybe a little bit of a perspective change is needed for some people that are just always constantly hitting negative, no?
Oh, for sure. I always try to remind myself there are people beyond U.S. borders who have far, far less than me, and they still manage to have this courage to worship the same God. So if they can do it, living in shacks and dirt floors, I'm doing quite all right, and I'm immensely blessed.
No, loud and clear. I interviewed G. Van Fleet just last week, and we may replay that interview on the second broadcast later today. 40 years ago, or at least nearly 40 years ago, she escaped communist China, and she's really, really trying to let people know, hey, just because Mamdani's here and the Seattle mayor's here doesn't mean it's just this socialist kind of move. It's at the core of it, these guys want to take it to the extreme why wouldn't you if you're going to be on that side? You know, you probably would want that. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think we saw their little. I don't even know if I want to call it a kumbaya, but when he met with Trump on Friday in the Oval Office, they were all smiles. Look, the thing that people forget about Donald Trump is this man was a deal maker, a grade A real estate magnate in New York. And he said this a lot when he was running in 2015-16. He had to get along with everybody. Of course, Donald Trump does not like the man's policies, but he has made a career out of getting along with everybody. If you become a multi-billionaire in New York, you're going to have to get along with a lot of people that you do not like. You see the media, they go berserk whenever he meets with some dictator. And the president of the United States has to get the job done. You can't always do work with friendly people, especially when you're talking about international diplomacy or you're dealing with wacko leftists in New York City. Either way, the president has to make deals with these people. He has to work with them where he can. And I commend him for that instead of just taking his ball and going home. Because remember what that does when he takes his ball and just goes home. The socialists, they get to do whatever they want. They get to run New York City completely unchecked. So this is not a time where I think conservatives, we should stand back and we should say, let's just watch New York City burn. Because if you just let a fire start to burn, it'll eventually reach you. So I commend President Trump for trying to work where he can. He says he wants to work with Mamdani. The president's willing to work with anyone if it lowers costs, if it makes America great again in any way, particularly lowering costs. President's willing to work with anyone. And I think our country, to a lesser extent, the Republican Party, is in better shape because of that mentality.
Also, I mean, there's a number of people on the other side of the coin there that were just simply not happy that Mamdani was there, that the Syrian president was there not too long ago, because of the polarizing, extreme viewpoints. So I understand that aspect as well. So we're seeing a lot go on just at the White House. And today is a much lighter note, of course. Melania Trump welcoming the official White House Christmas tree. We're going to have that live coverage. A bit later, the president, according to some of the staff here at the network, will be signing an executive order surrounding health care. So we'll see what that's all about. But moving forward, even into Thanksgiving, into the Christmas and the holiday season, New Year's, all that, and then midterms next year, how do we come back full circle to the beginning of the conversation? How are we able to just really let go even during the holidays? Because we know that our country's still at stake, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, you have to be rooted in what the truth is, not your truth. And I think that even if this entire country faded away, as heartbreaking as that would be, Jesus Christ would still be on the throne. And I would still have salvation that he has given me as being a part of his elect. And I believe that that has to be what anchors you. It's funny when you look at people and they're like, the news channel junkies, they're always watching the news or they're always scrolling. They never, ever unplug. They can't remember the last time. The phone, it's in the bathroom with them. The phone, it's everywhere with them. They're texting and driving. They're always trying to find roots, plant roots, like in the state of the country. And these people are always upset. It's the most amazing thing, but these people are always upset. It's not a firm foundation at all to be rooted in what the latest outrage in Washington, D.C. is. Now, you must pay attention to those things. We must be cognizant of those things, and we must fight against those things. We still must fight against the Mamdanis. We must fight against Hakeem Jeffries, one of, Jeffrey Epstein's real friends. We still need to fight against these people. It's not that we just take our ball and go home. But what happens in Washington while we are invested, it is not the end-all be-all of our happiness. It's not the end-all and be-all of our eternity, thankfully. And when you begin to unravel from that, you start to find people that have an eternal peace, even when someone like Mamdani is elected, even when the economy is not perfect. There's an eternal peace, as the word says, that surpasses all understanding.
Exactly. And the truth will set you free. And to your point, I really liked what you said. You said it's not about your truth, it's about the truth, right? So to be as close as we can to that truth is really what sets you free. And to be on the truth train is the way to go. Jairus, can you share with us one more thing when it comes to any of these stats or figures that MRC came up with last week? I know you guys do a great job there at Newsbusters.
Yeah, so ABC News, I just went back because we saw the dust-up that they had in the Oval Office. Incredibly rude reporter. We published a study, this was back during the transition period. 96% of the network coverage, and this includes ABC, 96% of it was negative regarding Trump's transition. 96%. That's astonishing. I'm not even sure how on earth. I mean, I'm trying to think of the topics that, like, I only 96% of it, or 96% of it is negative. They hate this man. They hate also the people that support him. I don't know if you've seen the memes about, you know, they're trying to get to you, I'm just standing in the way. There's a lot of truth to that. They're not just going to stop once they get rid of Trump. They're also coming for the people that support him. You can hear this in their language. It's not just a matter of getting rid of a president. It's getting rid of a movement. It's getting rid of the America First movement. It's getting rid of anyone that is not ready to bend the knee to the globalist establishment. Now, funny enough, the White House actually put out a press release not too long after that White House dust-up, that Oval Office dust-up, excuse me. And they pointed out, and I was just shocked to see this. For one, they cited our research, our being mrcnewsbusters.org. Check it out. They cited us over 9 times with studies that we've done pointing out how ridiculously biased ABC is. And some of the things, I mean, in 2017, ABC suspended an investigative reporter, Brian Ross, after he falsely reported that Trump had directed Michael Flynn to talk to Russian officials about infiltrating the 2016 election. They also had David Wright, who was their veteran correspondent in 2020. He was suspended as well. These are major players. I think that's the other thing. This isn't like a regular general assignment desk reporter at ABC, some new journalist who, you know, is going rogue. These are top people that have been there for decades, and they are pushing a left-wing agenda so much so that they are having to get suspended. I think every year for a few years now, ABC has had to suspend someone because of their outlandish reporting against America First, their outlandish reporting against President Trump. And it truly is a despicable network. Now, they're in competition with CBS and NBC, so it's very much a photo finish for who's the most despicable. But yeah, they definitely have their marquee terrible moments.
They do. And then you go to the cable news side, and then all the online newspapers, most of them on the wrong side of history. Jairus Jackson with the MRC Media Research Center, External Affairs Manager. Jairus, thanks again for showing up, and look forward to having you on again.
Thanks so much.
Good times there. Just talking at the top of that interview, just about, you know, Thanksgiving coming up and being able to connect with family and friends and all of that outside of all the political world out there. One quick point before we get to what we see live, and we're also going to go to RSBN host Robert McNeely here in just a second. The American Liberty, or the Liberty Movement, the Tea Party movement, MAGA, all of the things. We got to keep that going. All right, let's, Director, did you just say toss? Can you repeat that? Okay, let's toss to it.
Thank you so much.
Great to see the First Lady of the United States of America, Melania Trump, there. You see the official White House Christmas tree arriving there. Beautiful setup there on the north lawn of the White House. Glad we could bring this coverage to you. We have some more to get to in just a second. On top of that, at 3:30 Eastern today, we'll be live once again, a second broadcast, an RSBN doubleheader, of course. That will be for the president's executive order signing. Currently, at 4 o'clock, is closed to the press. However, as you guys may have seen, sometimes that switches at the last second. So regardless, we're going to be live at 3:30. And then if it opens, we'll have that with President Trump there at the White House. Also, we'll have some live interviews and more coverage a bit later. In the meantime, before we get to our RSBN host, Robert McNeely, of course, let's go to a couple sponsors. Let's go to kalshi.com/RSBN. If you just go to the QR code there or just kalshi.com/RSBN, you could learn a lot about what's going on in the world through just a number of people asking a number of questions. And then they bet, they trade, you check out polls. It's all good stuff. So you can do that at kalshi.com/RSBN. More than 1 million people on that site, that number growing. And then also angelpaste.com out of Spring, Texas. So great to see that product there. That's the flagship product, of course. So just use the RSBN promo code. It'll give you a percentage off of that, but also a number of other great products as well. So if you're looking for some great gifts for Christmas, that's one right there. Longtime sponsor out of Spring, Texas. Of course, they hire military veterans. Always good to see that. It's 12:02 Eastern Time. Let's go now to RSBN host Robert McNeely, who joins us live via telephone. Robert, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Matthew, for having me.
Definitely. So this week, of course, Thanksgiving, and I was talking to Jairus about this. I wanted to get your take on it too. You know, how do you kind of cycle through all of it? Because there's so much to do when it comes to the 24/7 news cycle, the politics and all that. But then we still have to remember we're here with God and family too for like Thanksgiving and that kind of thing. So what's your kind of mindset, as I know that you're, on the air throughout the week as well? How do you kind of take this and still keep reporting on news, but still wanting to hang out with family?
Well, happy Thanksgiving to everyone early, and just pause and say thank you. Thank you to God. My pastor is very good about this, of course, we want to ask God, dialogue with God, pray to God as often as possible. But this is a good week just to stop and say thank you for what we have. A gratitude journal is also nice as well. I'm going to bet that most people, especially watching this network, they're probably grateful for at least 10 to 20 things. And then the more you write down, the more you find that, oh yeah, I'm grateful for so many of these things. And Jairus, of course, always giving good commentary on that, because we do have so much in the West, especially in America, that a lot of people don't have right now. And Nigeria and Sudan, especially amongst other places, the freedom simply to worship. And even though there's difficulties here in the United States, especially with homelessness, and especially, having the opportunity to speak with Pastor Franklin Graham last week, lots of problems here, but the world experiences much less at times, and you can actually find the happiness scores in some of these countries, especially in Africa, much higher, because in a way life is less complicated.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that we've been used to, being born in the United States of America and not really seeing the fight of maybe socialism, communism, trying to really take a step here. I mean, we've seen some of that, but we're brought up, hey, we like sports, we like movies, it's America, it's free. But now we're seeing a couple things happen that are just over the past 5 to 10 years, by the way. But let's talk from national kind of politics to some of the state politics. I know that you're from Illinois. You've lived in Georgia. You've lived actually in Arizona as well when you worked at tvOS. Then now, of course, in Alabama. I believe you lived in Florida too with True Social. So you've been around the country, as have I, in various networks and stuff. But Let's talk about Illinois first. What are you seeing there when it comes to state politics right now? And then I want to go to Georgia and then Alabama, and then we can wrap up.
Well, it's interesting because in Illinois, it seems like they've really sipped on the blue pill. It's very, very far to the left. Now, it was never like that growing up, but the proof is in the pudding that since the feds got involved in Chicago, 16% down in homicides, but we still see violence. Even over the weekend, there was a teen takeover. That's what they're calling it right now. And even Mayor Brandon Johnson saying, I don't want this to happen. But it was right across from the historic Chicago Theater on State Street, right in the Loop, across from the local ABC studios, where gunfire went off just after around 9 o'clock, before 10 o'clock on Friday evening. So it's unbelievable. Many of the victims between 14 to 17 years old. And I think it's a complete failure on the part of Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor J.B. Pritzker. Government's in place to keep people safe. And from the federal government, it's of course our military. And from the state and local governments, it should be by our police departments. But the defunding of police and the consistent rhetoric stemming from what took place with BLM and the radical movements just a few short years ago have taken hold in the governor's office and at the municipal level. And it's extremely sad to see. And then we have learned the names of that horrific attack. Remember Irina Zarutska in North Carolina? Well, this girl, Bethany McGee, had gasoline poured over her while waiting for the L train. So it's a subway in Chicago. Many people take it to get from the north to the south end and the west side as well. Lawrence Reed, 50 years old. This guy was arrested 72 times, 8 felony convictions, 7 misdemeanors.
Unbelievable.
Released again on the streets, pled guilty on Wednesday to attacking this young and beautiful woman just trying to make her way in the city.
Unbelievable. 72 times, Robert. 72 times. This is, we saw President Trump talk about, ending cashless bail and that kind of thing. And it's just, that's just shocking. I know I saw that story too on the L train there. It's really tough to see that. And then when you look down from Illinois to Georgia, there's pockets, I guess, in Atlanta, of course, that aren't the greatest when it comes to crime. But what are your thoughts there when it comes to state politics and, national politics?
Well, I actually have to throw in Mayor-elect Mamdani into this mix because Mayor Andre Dickens, along with Governor Brian Kemp, they got together in the summer of 2022, actually prior to that, and launched Operation Heatwave. So remember, again, from the BLM activism, from the riots that took place that literally burned down cities. We heard some networks saying is a peaceful protest, especially in Wisconsin, where we saw Milwaukee down south into Racine even, buildings on fire, and mostly peaceful was the narrative. Well, their Republican Democrat got together, and they actually operated with Atlanta PD and the Georgia State Bureau to go after all of those with outstanding warrants. It really cleaned up the streets around Atlanta, especially in Midtown and Buckhead. Of course, saw the Buckhead City movement at least initially fail. We'll see if that takes place once again to make that a separate city from Atlanta, because we saw in Sandy Springs, also in Brookhaven, roughly a decade or two ago, they left from Atlanta for their own police departments, and the areas have become much safer as a result and have assisted Atlanta PD in their great work. So there's an example of a Republican and Democrat coming together, being behind law enforcement and being right there for the citizens to get the bad guys off the streets. But, I have to give Mamdani at least credit for meeting with President Trump. It's something that Brandon Johnson will not do in Chicago. And again, that's why people not just voting at the ballot box, but moving like I did down to the Southeast, because the proof is in the pudding with the numbers. Just generally a safer place to live, work and raise families.
And speaking of the South, let's talk about Alabama, the great state of Alabama. It's a beautiful state. There's a lot. I haven't been to the Gulf Shores yet near Destin, but I hear it's beautiful beaches. Obviously, Auburn, a beautiful place, a number of other areas in Alabama. But let's talk about the politics here. I mean, we know we have Senator Tuberville doing a great job. What a great person. And then I guess he's running for governor too, right?
Yeah, it actually is. It's very likely, I think, he runs away with the governor's race. There's nothing's set in stone quite yet, but he is someone who tackles the issues. He's really trying to reach out to the younger generation, being at the Turning Point event back on November 5th at Auburn. But also, I think the big thing for him to tackle, along with President Trump and the federal government, because Alabama really an agricultural hub, a farming hub, also Space Force and continued space exploration in Huntsville, how that's all going to be geared up in the next year or so. he has a real focus on making sure the Chinese Communist Party getting out of buying up farmland and how to make things more affordable. Once again, that we've heard a lot about affordability, especially affordable for our farmers so they don't have to suffer things like those crazy bird killers and the wind turbines when they don't want to do that. I see them throughout southern Indiana as well. And a lot of times these farmers are left to, well, I can't sell my produce. There's too much regulation, what have you. And I have to sell to players that I don't want to sell to. And that's been a huge thing for Coach Tuberville. And I think he'll tackle that, especially with those European Union agreements, because now, since the summer, this was very true. Our friends over the pond would not buy our poultry or our meats or things like that because of pesticides. So I think with the regulations being tackled, it's going to help American farmers immensely.
Exactly. And you brought up Huntsville, of course, with Space Force and the fact that the Golden Dome of America, for America, some of that will be built in Huntsville, Alabama. And then you also talked about Coach Tuberville, and you said the word tackle. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Robert. Iron Bowl is coming up. It's Alabama Crimson Tide this weekend at Auburn Tigers. Can I get a score prediction, or would you plead the fifth?
I think I'll go with the score prediction as much as I want to plead the fifth. I want Auburn to take this, but I'm afraid they're going to fall short of bowl eligibility. And I think it's going to be somewhere around 17 Auburn and 34 for the Crimson Tide. I just think they're too strong in this process, but
that's tough.
Maybe I'll be wrong in it. It's a tough one, but I hope I'm wrong because it would be nice to see the Tigers get at least bowl eligibility and then move forward because sadly with the letting go of Coach Freeze, it seems like they're putting a few more things together, which is nice.
Exactly. Deuce Knight, quarterback over there at Auburn, I was at the game against Mercer, 4 rushing touchdowns. Hey, he's a freshman. This kid's great. So maybe that might be a future there. But there's another quarterback there too. So anyway, enough of the sports talk. Robert, thank you again for chiming in and being with us here this morning. And I believe we'll be talking to you tomorrow as well. So Robert McNeely, everybody, RSBN host.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you. All right, so it's 12/12, Monday, November 24th. Of course, a lot of stories going on within the 24/7 news cycle. I know sometimes, when you're watching maybe conservative news, you only expect politics. I hear you. Trust me, I got you. It is Thanksgiving week, so we're just, letting our hair down a little bit. But still, at the end of the day, and I can't say it enough, the 10 words that I believe are what defines we the people: God, family, country, freedom, truth, justice, and the American way. It's really what it's all about. We want it all to be here in this nation for many years to come, hopefully forever, until the return of Jesus, right? All right, so it's 12:13. We'll be live at 3:30 Eastern time. Before we go, let's go to All Family Pharmacy. The Black Friday buy one, get one free sale is here now. And I can tell you that it's with All Family Pharmacy. And Patriots, this is the moment to stay prepared, of course. So today, from November 24th through December 2nd, when you buy one ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, or mebendazole, you'll get another one for free. So RSBN viewers, of course, we know the importance of readiness. We don't wait for someone else to step in. We take responsibility for our health, our families, and our future. So it's simple. Just go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can place your order. A licensed physician will review it. Once approved, your medication ships straight to your door. And then also it's, of course, fast, private, and reliable. So the Black Friday event lasts just for 1 week, and supplies are limited. So if you believe in preparedness and protecting what matters, visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN before December 2nd and secure your Black Friday BOGO, buy one, get one free deal. Let's also go to another sponsor here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. You see Cove Pure right there. Now, again, if you were not listening last week, some of our staff here likes to drink tap water. So we had this whole conversation about that last week. I don't like it. This is why this is great to have something like Cove Pure. It takes 99.9% of the stuff, right? Chemicals or things that are just not good to be in the water. Takes it right out. So covepure.com/RSBN. So it tastes better. It's healthier for you. And on top of that, $250 off for the holiday sale. So all you have to do is go to covepure.com/RSBN. Drink pure, live pure. Cove Pure, great sponsor, great product, just like all of them here at Right Side. All right, so 12:15, Monday, November 24th, looking at the White House there, live, bright and sunny today. Again, 3:30 Eastern time. We'll be back live right here on Right Side as the president's scheduled for a 4 o'clock executive order signing. Currently, it is listed as closed press. However, we'll still be live around that time. And if it becomes available to the press, like last week's meeting with Mamdani did, we'll be live with it. So hope to see you at 3:30 Eastern time. We're with you, America. We love you. My name is Matthew Alvarez. This is RSBN Live. We'll see you at 3:30.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can scan that QR code now, RSBN10. That is the code, easy to remember, for 10% off. This is ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, antibiotics that will save you and yours from bacterial and viral infections, NAD+, and much, much more. 200 essential medications and emergency medical kits, the meds you trust delivered to your door.